Hello everybody, welcome to the ICSR series, the most demanded and awaited video for all the freshers and experienced people who are looking to improve your career, knowledge and trying to crack the interviews. I have received numerous requests from so many candidates and I have put in all the efforts to make it as simple as possible and easy to understand the concept. The ICSR case processing is very important, which makes the foundation and also the entry point in the drug safety and pharmacovigilance domain. If you understand and master this ICSR process very well, you will be able to advance and shape your career into aggregate reporting and so on. The ICSR case processing provides great potential and immense opportunities for freshers to start your career because most of the big pharmaceutical and biotech companies generally outsource this activity, as these projects usually require huge number of resources to deal with large volumes of work. And also many organizations have to deal with the challenges of quality and productivity, mainly due to the lack of proper training and the concepts not being clear. So let's see in detail what is pharmacovigilance, definitions and terminologies used, and where do we get the data and how it is collected, documented, processed and reported to the regulatory authorities. What are the tools and databases used? As many of you know already by now, that my main focus is always on the practical aspects rather than just learning some theory part. My intention is to give you tons of information on all my videos. I think that I have covered a lot of important topics in all my videos, which I feel is more than sufficient for you to ace the fresher or any experienced position interviews. Please watch all my videos till the end to get a proper and thorough understanding, and comment if you come across any questions. Also, at the end of each video, I have included a mock interview session where I will be asking you the questions and you can try to answer and practice your flow and improve your speaking skills. One more very important thing which I would like to tell all of you. If you are a college student pursuing any of the streams in medicine, dentistry, pharma or PhD or any other life sciences degree and not sure of practicing in future and would like to know more about the career path and options in pharma and biotech industry, and you are in need of guidance, you can ask your college authorities or the concerned person to contact us by email or send an invite for a session to talk on pharmacovigilance and the opportunities in the industry. Of course, the session will be entirely free and I will be happy to see you all and talk about in length about pharmacovigilance and other career options. Welcome to the ICSR series. Here you will be learning all the basics for interviews in just 30 minutes by watching the videos. In this video, you will be learning in detail about the drug development process and phases of clinical trials. The upcoming videos will have the terminologies used in the pharmacovigilance, how is ICSR processing done and how it is managed. You will also learn about MHRA coding and WHO-DD or WHO-DD coding. What is the seriousness criteria and how to perform causality assessment. What is labeling and how to write narratives, and also about regulatory submission process. I'll be also giving you some information on safety databases. What are the fields contained in the safety databases? All these videos are very important and they are part of this ICSR process, and I highly recommend you to follow and subscribe for all my videos. Before we get into the core pharmacovigilance, let's see an introduction to clinical research. The reference document is Guideline on Good Pharmacovigilance Practices, that is GVP Module 6, which includes collection, management and submission of reports of suspected adverse reactions to medicinal products. I have also referred to one more important guideline, that is ICH Harmonized Tripartite Guideline. This includes clinical safety data management, which provides information on definitions and standards for expedited reporting. This is an E2E guideline. As you all know, we have quality, safety, efficacy and multidisciplinary guidelines, which constitutes the ICH guidelines, and E2A is one of them. Let's look at the US FDA drug development process. We have 5 steps in the drug development process. The first is the discovery and development. The second is preclinical research. The third is clinical research. The fourth is FDA drug review. And the fifth is FDA post-market drug safety monitoring. So this is the US FDA process. We have a similar process for European development process also. So I am planning to make an video on that. So for now, this is related to US FDA. The first step is discovery and development. Under discovery, the researchers discover new drugs through new insights into a disease process that allow researchers to design a product to stop or reverse the effects of the disease. Many tests of molecular compounds to find possible beneficial effects against any of a large number of diseases. Existing treatments that have unanticipated effects, new technologies such as those that provide new ways to target medical products to specific sites within the body or to manipulate genetic material. At this stage in the process, thousands of compounds may be potential candidates for development as a medical treatment. After early testing, however, only a small number of compounds look promising and call for further study. Now under development, once researchers identify a promising compound for development, they conduct experiments to gather information on how it is absorbed, distributed, metabolized and excreted, what are its potential benefits and what is the mechanism of action, what is the best dosage and the best way to give the drug, such as by IV or oral or injection, which is the best one. What are the side effects or adverse events that can often be referred to as toxicity? How it affects different groups of people, such as by gender, race or ethnicity differently. How it interacts with other drugs and treatments, and also its effectiveness as compared with similar drugs. Step 2, that is preclinical research. Before testing a drug in people, researchers must find out whether it has the potential to cause some serious harm, also called as toxicity. The two types of preclinical research are in vitro and in vivo. FDA requires researchers to use good laboratory practices defined in medical product development regulations for preclinical laboratory studies. The GLP regulations, that is good laboratory practices, regulations are found in 21 CFR Part 58, good laboratory practices for non-clinical laboratory studies. These regulations set the minimum basic requirements for the study conduct, personal facilities, equipment, written protocols, operating procedures, study reports, and a system of quality assurance oversight for each study to help assure the safety of FDA regulated product. Step 3 is the clinical research. Once you have drug discovery and development, then you do the preclinical research. Now it is the time to do the clinical research. While preclinical research answers basic questions about a drug safety, it is not a substitute for studies of ways the drug will interact with the human body. Clinical research refers to studies or trials that are done in people. As the developers design the clinical study, they will consider what they want to accomplish for each of the different clinical research phases and begin the investigational new drug process, that is IND. A process they must go through before clinical research begins. Before you start with the clinical research, you need to apply for IND, that is the investigational new drug application. Now, what are the phases of clinical trials? This is very important, usually asked in the interviews. So we have 4 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So in phase 1, the study participants are from 20 to 100 healthy volunteers or people with a disease or condition. The length of the study is usually several months. The purpose is mainly for safety and dosage, and approximately 70% of drugs move to the next phase. The phase 2 has up to several hundred people with the disease or condition. The length of study is several months to 2 years, up to 2 years. The purpose is mainly to study the efficacy and side effects. Approximately 33% of drugs move to the next phase, that is the phase 3. In phase 3, the study participants are from 300 to 3000 volunteers who have the disease or condition. The length of study is quite longer, that is 1 to 4 years. The main purpose is to know about the efficacy and monitoring of adverse reactions, and approximately 25 to 30% of the drugs move to the next phase. The last and the final one is phase 4, where the study participants are in several thousand who have the disease or condition, and the main purpose is to know about the safety and efficacy. So this is just for your information. What are the types of clinical trials? We have prevention trials that look for better ways to prevent a disease in people who have never had the disease or to prevent the disease from returning. Approaches may include medicines, vaccines, or lifestyle changes. We have screening trials which test new ways for detecting diseases or health condition. We have diagnostic trials, study or compare tests or procedures for diagnosing a particular disease or condition. Treatment trial tests new treatments, new combination of drugs, or new approaches to surgery or radiation therapy. We have behavioral trials to evaluate or compare ways to promote behavioral changes designed to improve health. Quality of life trials or supportive care trials, which explore and measure ways to improve the comfort and quality of life of people with conditions or illness. This is just a comparison for your understanding what is the difference between an observational studies and what is the clinical trial. So in many studies, researchers do not experiment or test new treatments, they observe. Observational studies help researchers understand a situation and come up with hypotheses that can be put to the test in clinical trials. We have case study or case series, ecological study, cross-sectional study, case control study, and cohort study. For more details, please Google all these words. You will get a lot of information about these observational studies. And about the clinical trials, I have already explained to you 4 phases of clinical trials. Very important and very commonly asked questions during the freshers interviews. That is, if you're D Pharm or B Pharm, or if you have done M Pharma, usually they will ask you about what is a placebo, randomization and blinded mean in clinical trials? Let's look at one by one. So what is a placebo? In clinical trials that compare a new product or therapy with another that already exists, researchers try to determine if the new one is as good or better than the existing one. In some studies, you may be assigned to receive a placebo, an inactive product that resembles the test product but without its treatment value. Comparing a new product with a placebo can be the fastest and most reliable way to show the new product's effectiveness. However, placebos are not used if you would be at risk of, particularly in the study of treatments for serious illnesses or if you do not have an effective therapy. You will be told if placebos are used in the study before entering a trial. So what is randomization? It is a process by which treatments are assigned to participants by chance rather than by choice. This is done to avoid any bias in assigning volunteers to get one treatment or another. The effect of each treatment are compared at specific points during a trial. If one treatment is found to be superior, the trial is stopped so that the most volunteers receive the more beneficial treatment. So this is also asked in the interview, so please make a note of it. One more very important, single blinded, double blinded. What is blinding? Blinding or blinded or masked studies are designed to prevent members of the research team and study participants from influencing the results. Blinding allows the collection of scientifically accurate data. In single blind or single mask studies, you are not told what is being given, but the research team knows. In a double blind study, neither you nor the research team are told what you are given, only the pharmacist knows. Members of the research team are not told which participants are receiving which treatment in order to reduce bias. So this is just to avoid the bias. If you already know who has received what, so you will start manipulating the data. So to avoid this, the blinding is done. So when we are performing a clinical trial, we should have something called as a plan or a protocol. So what are clinical trial protocols? Clinical trial follows a plan known as a protocol. The protocol is carefully designed to balance the potential benefits and risks to participants and answer specific research questions. A protocol describes the following: the goal of the study and who is eligible to take part in the trial, protection against risks to participants, details about tests, procedures and treatments, how long the trial is expected to last and what information will be gathered. A clinical trial is led by the principal investigator. Members of the research team regularly monitor the participants' health to determine the study's safety and effectiveness. This is just for your knowledge. We use protocol on a regular basis. When you are working in an organization, we use protocol as a normal common term. So you should just have an idea about what is a clinical trial protocol. It is just a plan what are the goals and how the clinical trial is conducted. The step 4 is FDA drug review. If a drug developer has evidence from its early tests and preclinical and clinical research that a drug is safe and effective for its intended use, the company can file an application to market the drug. So as I told you, initially we will file IND. So now it can file for the marketing. The FDA review team thoroughly examines all submitted data on the drug and makes a decision to approve or not to approve it. So before we will file IND, now new drug application, NDA. A new drug application tells the full story of a drug. Its purpose is to demonstrate that the drug is safe and effective for its intended use in the population studied. Once FDA receives an NDA, the review team decides if it is complete. If it is not complete, then the review team can refuse to file the NDA. In case if it is complete, the review team can take 6 to 10 months to make a decision on whether to approve the drug. The process includes the following. Each member of the review team conducts a full review of his or her section of the application. For example, the medical officer and the statistician review clinical data, while a pharmacologist reviews the data from animal studies. Within each technical discipline represented on the team, there is also a supervisory review. FDA inspectors can travel to clinical study sites to conduct a routine inspection. The agency looks for evidence of fabrication, manipulation, or any withholding of data. The project manager assembles all individual reviews and other documents such as inspection report into an action package. This document becomes the record for FDA review. The review team issues a recommendation and a senior FDA official makes a final decision. So finally, FDA approval. In cases where FDA determines that the drug has been shown to be safe and effective for its intended use, it is then necessary to work with the applicant to develop and refine prescribing information. This is referred to as labeling. So there will be a separate video on labeling, what are the requirements for labeling and how it is done. Labeling accurately and objectively describes the basis for approval and how best to use the drug. It is like you have a small leaflet in the any drug or package. You will see the instructions how to take it and with what route, before food or after food, orally or IV. So these are all the information which will be available in the labeling. Often, though, remaining issues need to be resolved before drug can be approved for marketing. Sometimes FDA requires the developer to address questions based on existing data. In other cases, FDA requires additional studies. At this point, the developer can decide whether or not to continue further development. If a developer disagrees with an FDA decision, there are mechanisms for formal appeal. Now, once it is approved, there will be an advisory committee. The NDA contains sufficient data for FDA to determine the safety and effectiveness of a drug. Sometimes questions arise that require additional consideration. In these cases, FDA may organize a meeting of one of its advisory committee to get independent expert advice and to permit the public to make comments. These advisory committees include a patient representative that provides input from the patient's perspective. The last step is the post-market drug safety monitoring. Even though clinical trials provide important information on drugs' efficacy and safety, it is impossible to have complete information about the safety of a drug at the time of approval. Despite the rigorous steps in the process of drug development, limitations exist. Therefore, a true picture of a product's safety actually evolves over months and years that make up a product's lifetime in the marketplace. FDA reviews reports of problems with prescription and over-the-counter drugs and can decide to add cautions to the dosage or usage information, as well as other measures for more serious issues. So during the clinical trials, there are a lot of limitations because it is done under a very limited setup with targeted patients with particular specific population, limited number of patients. So to overcome this, there will be a post-marketing study also, which is done in larger population to get more insight and more exposure, where you will come to know what are the adverse events, what are the side effects faced by other population. So these are the common interview questions which I have put. You can try to answer these questions, and these are the common interview questions which are usually asked. So what are the phases of clinical trials? What is a placebo? What is randomization in a clinical trial? Why is the randomization done? Mainly to avoid bias. And what is blinding? Can you explain what is single and double blinding? And what is the clinical trial protocol? This was in brief about the introduction to clinical research and the drug development and approval process. I hope that the video was informative and helpful. If you are still studying in the college or about to complete your graduation and want to have a free session or a talk in your college or university, you can ask your college authorities or the concerned person to email us at contactus@globalplacosolutions.com. I would be happy to come and meet you all and give a free talk about the introduction and what are the career opportunities available in the clinical research and pharmacovigilance. Also, many of them are not aware that I also provide training sessions on aggregate or periodic reports, and to attend this training you need to have at least 2 to 3 years of experience in the PV. If you are looking to broaden your area of expertise and looking for better career opportunities, then you can definitely attend this program. If you or your friends are interested to attend a session, you can register by logging onto our website, that is www.globalplacosolutions.com, and navigate to Contact Us, and under Contact Us there is an option for training. You can register under that, and once you register, our team will be sending you the information on all of our upcoming sessions by email. Please like, share and subscribe for my upcoming videos. The series is going to continue, and thank you very much for watching.